Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. In the background there, Mikhail Teja, he was one of the artists that was scheduled to perform at RVRB X 2023, but he was in like one of the after party type lime situations, right, Melissa?
Yes, the showcase, the first
showcase, that's what we call it. It's like an after party, but it's a showcase as well, because people are coming to lime, people are coming to take part and celebrate the music and learn and meet some new artists as well.
Correct.
But the RVRB X has been wrapped up. It took place from the 5th to the 7th of July, and we need some feedback now. We need to have some feedback. Good morning to you, Melissa Jimenez, General Manager of Music TT. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so tell me, how was it? In your opinion, besides tiring?
Besides tiring is right, because it's only this weekend I get to rest. Fella was here up until last week Wednesday taking meetings.
All right.
But it was great. It was really, really great. I mean, up to today, I'm still getting feedback, whether it be through reels, messages, emails, everything about, the experience. And I think particularly for people, they enjoyed it so much because it was a different topic.
Right.
We're accustomed to, let's talk about performance and let's talk about the studio and how to record and this and that. But sync is an area that people were really interested in. And I'm glad we listened to the call, because a lot of persons were telling us they want to know more.
What were some of the things that you would say came out of it in terms of the feedback that you're getting? Yes, they appreciated the sync, but what specifically, that they wanted and that they got, or how are we able to leverage the information that would have been shared?
I think they got some actionable steps.
Right.
So, the speakers, all of them were really, really good at breaking down at each level, what you need to start with, the different areas or modes that you can start with, and how to reach out to different persons in terms of the publishers and the agents and so forth to help you along, especially the agencies to shop your music, and then, how to basically have that as passive income.
Right.
So they got actionable steps along the way.
One of the things I'm always curious about, and I find that we tend to shy away from it a lot, is the actual conversation about the money. How do you value what your art is worth when it comes to sync deals? How do I say to myself, all right, no, I can't take anything less than X for my music because that's how much it's worth?
So the thing about sync is that you most of the times don't have the opportunity to say that, because once you're signed up with a publisher, the publisher makes these deals on your behalf. You don't do it.
But I assume that there'd be a conversation that happens before. But yeah, between you and the publisher.
But not really. The publisher has the rights to negotiate on your behalf, right? So they don't need to contact you.
Yeah. And what if
you are the publisher, then you need to identify and sensitize yourself with what are the going rates. Don't price yourself out there and feel that, my work worth $1 million. But at the same time, Rockers put out a song and he gets 650 US for it. So it's like, what happened in there?
That's a huge disparity.
It is a huge disparity. And it also depends on what the medium is, right? It could be like, for example, one of our spotlight artists a couple of years ago, Daniel Hamilton, got a sync through So Stereo with us. And his own, I'm not going to say the amount, is a few hundreds US. And basically it was for Zumba to use his music with their executive newsletter. So that goes out to, I think it was around 20,000 persons or something like that. So they value it that way, as opposed to if it was for Zumba International to use at all of their major events, that would be a different price. So it just depends on what the output is.
And I assume it also matters in terms of who the artist is and the record label that's attached and the publishing service that's attached to it as well. That would make a big difference. All right, so we brought in a whole heap of guests for this RVRB conference. What was the feedback on the guests that were brought in, and how do we measure the output of it?
Listen, these poor guests, they do not get any time to themselves.
They didn't come here for themselves? They come here to work? I don't understand.
It is not for lack of trying. Like, persons at every point were just at them. Once they were out their hotel room and downstairs, they were at them. And then, as I mentioned, fella left last week Wednesday. So even he went above and beyond and went and booked meetings from the Saturday after RVRB straight up until till the Wednesday morning till he left. So, he was still having those one-on-one B2B discussions with persons.
Right.
So, I really have to applaud their commitment. And definitely, I think the takeaway from the persons in the room who participated, they were very, very thankful for it because as I tell you, they were up in these people's faces. We could not have more networking events.
Yeah.
The networking sessions went on really long.
All right. But do we see anybody getting any deals or any sort of partnerships happening as a result of all this networking?
So yes, Fella, through his company Hyphenates Global, was one of our major partners. And his thing is always, all right, Melissa, output, output, output. What is the output for this? So some of the things that will be happening very soon, there are a couple persons that he's very interested in signing as a talent agent, as a super talent agent, as he calls himself. So they will be, signing on the dotted line very soon.
This is music artists?
These are artists, correct. And then he and his team, Solomon Sanaya as well, who came, they are looking at having their Afrobeats Caribbean festival here. But they're looking at it on a different scale where the Afrobeats artists as well as some of Empire's roster will be here. And they're going to be here for an extended period of time so that it allows them to collaborate in the studio with local artists here. So that is going to be that merger happening there, as well as some other cross-cultural exchanges between the continent and the Caribbean. So,
are we looking to see more collaborations between the continent and Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, because, somebody might kill me for saying this, but U.S. is overtapped. I mean, I understand flights to the U.S. is much cheaper and it right there, between U.S., Canada, U.K., etc. But, when we start to talk about Singapore, China, Nigeria, South Africa, they are so interested in our music and what we have here. They want to do collaborations. And I always use this example. If there's anybody that show barriers being broken, it's Brave Boy. He making connections in every country, regardless of the language, and coming out with music with all of them.
But I often wonder, even with Brave Boys, what is the return on the investment? Because I know he's been putting in the work and he's been consistently doing so, but how do we measure the return on investment? Because when we look at the things that we see on, let's say, cable TV or whatever, what we see is the US and the UK, right? What we see on social media for the most part is the US and UK, unless you go looking for other things intentionally.
Correct.
So we're able to measure people's perceived success by whether you end up on this award show or that award show, you end up in the Billboard charts or whatever the case is. And even in a case like the number one artist in the world, Burna Boy, he ended up on being the number one artist in the world after he was already a big deal in Africa. And then he came across to the US and the UK and started to break records there. And that's when they called him the number one artist in the world. Right? So how do we measure the successes of getting to those other places and saying, well, yes, we've done the work necessary?
So I have two things to say to that. One, you may have recalled when Salam Remy was here, and one of Salam's things that he was harping on is that for us locally, we don't create enough content when it comes to music. So we do in
singles. He never was working on a radio station for Carnival.
No, he wasn't talking about just the 6,000 songs that come out for Carnival that 3/4 of them don't get played, right? He's not talking about that.
Right. What are you talking about?
He's basically talking about any of those artists. They just have one song come out and that's it. And then a next song come out 6 months later or a year later, as opposed to constantly churning out content all the time.
We have many artists that are doing that.
So, no.
Really?
I don't find so.
Nah, man. I could easily
pull out full albums all the time.
You didn't say full albums, you say music.
Okay, fine. Putting out music all the time. Let me say on a...
But again, return on investment.
Every 2 months.
Return on investment again, right? We have artists. If you talk about international artists release albums once every 4 or 5 years, right? But we expect our artists to produce full albums every Carnival.
No, but when you look at the indie artists keep churning out internationally all the time. Every 3 months or so you're seeing them with a song. So at least for the year, 4 songs come out. But with our artists, a lot of them is just 1 song, 2 songs.
Because but that's with the ones that target in the festival. The ones that outside of the festival, the people who make outside of festival music, like Jimmy October just released brand new music, Nyla Blackman just released brand new music. We have new music coming out.
Our stats would show that that's few and far in between, though. That's not a lot of them.
Yeah, you don't think we've seen an increase in the past, I would say, 5 years?
I think we saw an increase during the pandemic, and then somehow, because live festivals come back out again and they could go perform, it just went on the back burner.
Interesting.
That's what I've seen.
All right, tell me what's next for Music TT.
What's next for Music TT? Well, next up we have our COT Open Day, COT Music TT Open Day on the 25th of this month. So for persons interested in finding out about their TTISRCs and signing up for that, as well as a wealth of other resources, they can come walk into COT's facility, and we have persons with different destinations depending on what you want to do.
Which day is that?
This is the 25th of July.
25th of July, that's next week.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the Review X 2023. We look forward to the next one, which should be next year, 2024.
Yes.
All right, guys. The General Manager of Music TT joining us there on set just to give us a recap as to what took place for Reverb X 2023, the 3-day music conference where we brought in people from all over the world to make sure that we have all the information that we need to be able to take the necessary steps. When we come back, we celebrate Christmas in July a little bit. So stay tuned. It's in our morning show.
Push back like you're missing there.